ready.
Like a dinner study or something.
Yeah.
We are calling to order the meeting of the Federal Way School Board. This evening we have Director Barney, Director Wilson, Director Pearson, and myself, Director Griffin, present. Our President, Director Moore, is celebrating his daughter's graduation from college in Florida, where it's sunny. We will now stand for our presentation of the colors and Pledge of Allegiance.
Forward. March. Another guy. Hold. Order. Color. Left. Eight. Carry. Color. Breathe in. Color. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Carry. Color. Order. Color. Right. Wait. Order. Color. Forward. March.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right, look for an approval of our agenda.
I move that the Board of Education approve the meeting agenda of May 14th, 2013 as submitted.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions, comments, board members? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
None opposed? So moved. Look for an approval of the consent agenda.
I move that the Board of Education approve the consent agenda of May 14th, 2013 as submitted.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
None opposed? So carries. Next, we will have our student staff recognition by our Deputy Superintendent, Mark Davidson.
Thank you, Vice President Griffin, members of the board, Mr. New. At this time, I'd like to introduce Representative Linda Kochmar to make a presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, thank you. It seems a little odd to be looking at you from this end when I normally was for 15 years sitting up there. So, and by the way, when you're standing on this end and you're speaking, 3-minute speech when you're giving a talk goes really fast. It's amazing. I am making a presentation to Caleb Dawson. I don't see him in the audience. I'm sure at this time of year he's very, very busy, a graduating high school senior. He is the ASB president at Fedway High School. And we did recognize him in the State House of Representatives, and we passed a resolution in honor of him for all of the food that he collected last Halloween. So let me read the resolution, and I will present it to you, and then perhaps you can send it to him, or if he shows up a little later, then give it to him. But thank you. So, whereas Caleb Dawson, an esteemed resident of Fedway and a student of Fedway High School, has achieved national recognition for exemplary volunteer service by receiving a 2013 Presidential Spirit of Community Award, and whereas this prestigious award, presented by Prudential Financial in partnership with the National Association of Secondary School Principals, honors young volunteers across America who have demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to serving their communities And whereas Mr. Dawson earned this award by giving generously of his time and energy to his community by coordinating a food drive that collected nearly 10,000 pounds of food and rallied our young people for the greater cause. And whereas Mr. Dawson's community service extends far beyond the Prudential Spirit of Community Award, with service as student body president of Fedway High School, among many other notable achievements, and whereas the success of the state of Washington, the strength of our communities, and the overall vitality of American society depend in great measure upon the dedication of young people like Mr. Dawson, who use their considerable talents and resources to serve others. Now therefore be it resolved that the Washington State House of Representatives congratulate and honor Mr. Dawson as a recipient of a Prudential Spirit of Community Award, recognize his outstanding record of volunteer service, peer leadership, and community service, and extend best wishes for his continued success and happiness. And I want to say that I understand that Caleb was a scholarship winner at Gonzaga. So we're very proud of Mr. Dawson, and so we can thank him. Which, if he watches this video, he can consider himself thanked.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time to come down and make this presentation.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Next, Mr. Jack Stanford from the Rotary with a couple of Rotary Students of the Month. Thank you, Jack.
Good evening, Board, Superintendent. They're leaving as soon as I get here. Oh, you're coming down for the They're coming down for the picture already. So, Fedway Rotary has been involved in this committee for many, many years, and besides our scholarships and other community groups we work with, one of the things we really enjoy for probably the last 15 years, in part thanks to the Secretary, to Chris Poppage, for kind of keeping that well organized within the school system, which is a very difficult thing to do. It's a very large corporation. But it works, and it is so much fun. We visit each high school once a year. We interview, the students are selected by the high school, and we interview the students, and we pick one or two or three or four. Sometimes it's very difficult. This was one time it was very difficult. But today we're presenting awards for a couple of students from Thomas Jefferson. So I'm going to have them, I think probably both of you come up. We have Justin, let me put my glasses on before. Why don't you come on up, Justin? Justin Alamaris, and then Abhishek Murali. Why don't you come on up, guys? So why don't we first do this part. So there's your plaque. Thank you. And so, they're gonna talk. I'm gonna kind of tell you a little bit about them, just kind of so that you get Usually kids don't like talking about themselves, but I enjoy talking about them. So, I have to say, you're going to find out in a second. These two young gentlemen are so different, but yet so much the same. It's just amazing. Justin is 4.0 IB. It's just, I don't know if you can get more brilliant than this. He's a math tutor. He's on the math team, swim captain. He was part of the Thomas Jefferson robotics team. I think this was the first year for robotics for them, and I think that they both were. It's all about math. It's all about math. It's all about science. I think STEM is kind of the word that all of those things excite both of these gentlemen. Justin, and I'm going to ask him to talk a little bit about it. We're always struggling to know how we use math, and his Eagle project. He just became an Eagle Scout this year, and his Eagle project is involved in orientating, what is, I can't even, it's tough.
Orienteering.
There we go. And he'll explain how that works. It's a little bit beyond me. Basically, that's pretty much it. He's the tall, silent type, so he's not, interested in giving a big speech. But why don't you just, say a few words?
Right. So basically what orienteering is it's a sport that involves using a map and a compass to find different points that are laid out in usually a state park or just a park in general. And for my orienteering course, I decided to make a permanent course at Celebration Park. So I used wooden posts with a little marker with a number on them, and then made the map using the Celebration map to create a course throughout the park and using the BPA trail that's open for the public and anyone who wants to try orienteering.
You understand that? So you have to use then longitude and latitude, and what do you use? How do you go from point to point?
Basically, just to get from point to point, you look at just how the map orientation works with the paths and the trails and different features on the map, such as power lines, and then you look, or you can use the north lines on the map to line it up with your compass, and then you know from there which direction to travel to get to the next point. So,
cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Justin. We're going to do picture now. Both?
Yeah.
Cool.
And then we'll bring them separately and together.
All right. You have to take direct. That's why you're the superintendent, right? All right. Abhishek is not the silent type, so I'll tell you that right off the bat. It's kind of an interesting high school career. He did 2 years in the public academy, and then just only 2 years at Thomas Jefferson. But I don't think there's anything he hasn't achieved in those 2 years. He felt a little bit, I think he would like a couple more years of high school so he could do everything. But once again, math, robotics, advancing leadership, which we hear a lot with kids. I mean, it's something that we really need to spread throughout the district and push it hard. It changed. He'll probably talk a little bit about that. Does anyone else need to talk tonight? Because he's probably going to go on for quite a while. He was the tennis captain also, and he was also the girls' tennis manager. How is that? So he probably enjoyed that. Yeah. He's a Seafair ambassador. He was part of the NASA Inspire program, and he'll probably want to talk a little bit about that. You're going to know right away that he was a state debate kid, so you'll see that. All the academics, it's all there, and he'll talk a little bit about what's going on with him, what inspires him, and what he would like to do. So there you go.
So like he mentioned, I'm part of the speech and debate team, and one of the events that I do on speech and debate is impromptu speaking, which is basically speaking on the fly. So you're going to see a lot of that now because I didn't really prepare this beforehand. But I guess I'd start off with Advancing Leadership Youth and how that impacted me. I started at Fwps in my sophomore year. And to be in Federal Way, I always assumed that Federal Way was such like a small town that didn't have very much and that my school community didn't have too much. But through the program itself, when I met all these other youth around my area, all these other people who are interested in becoming leaders and making a change in their community, it opened up new doors for me. And so just going through that experience, I found that Federal Way has a lot more opportunities that you can basically take advantage of. And what it kind of taught me was just to take every opportunity that you get. And so throughout my high school career, that's kind of what I focused on. And I'm really interested in STEM, which is like science, technology, engineering, math. I want to be an aerospace engineer, so any little opportunity I can get to kind of get more information on the field to try and just get ahead of the rest of the people. I try and take it, and I don't know. I have a good time learning about math and science. Kind of weird, but it works. Yeah, school's interesting. Trust me, school's interesting in my class. I go off on physics all day. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say other than that. I'm more of, I just enjoy doing what I do, and I'm just thankful that Federal Way Public Schools provides me that opportunity, and my parents provided me that opportunity as well. So thank you very much.
Cool.
Thanks again, you guys. Thank you, sir. All right, yeah, no worries. I always said. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Next, I'd like to introduce Mr. Vince Blauser, our Executive Director of Secondary Education, who has a presentation. Thank you, Vince.
Thank you. Good evening, members of the board, Superintendent New, members of the audience. Tonight, I have been given the distinct honor of introducing to you the 2012-13 Todd Beamer dance team, sitting over here. Not your ordinary team. This group has performed at extremely high level all season long. While following a long history of dance championships at Todd Beamer, through its inception 10 years ago, the program's 10 years long. To put this in perspective, this 2013 team became the 8th team in school's 10-year history to bring home a state championship. 8 out of 10. So I think that this team should be classified as a dynasty. Not only 8 out of 10, but they've won 4 state championships in a row. Pretty amazing feat. Yeah. Now, before they even got to state, this year they competed in a number of competitions in the local area. In all but one competition in which they placed second in one, they've won, including the District 3 championship title at Kentwood High School earlier this year. But not only has this team had great success in the local and state level of competition, they've also achieved national success. This year, the dance team traveled to Costa Mesa, California, and competed in the USA Nationals in jazz and hip-hop competition. The team competed in a medium and large division, and in the medium category, they placed second, only a third of a point below the national champions. Now, I was there, and if I had voted, they did an amazing job. Anyway, they did an amazing job. In the large division, the team received third place in a routine choreographed by one of their very own captains, Desmond Garcia. Desmond, raise your hand. Take a bow. Coach Felicia Valiani was recently quoted as saying, "I've never had a team until this year that brought back a trophy in every competition and achieved a near perfect season. This would not have happened had it not been for the hard work and dedication of this talented group of dancers and the support of their families. It's my honor to introduce to you true champions as dancers, but also amazing individuals. Coach, congratulations. Todd Beamer High School, congratulations." Come on up.
breaking.
And, excuse me, finally this evening, I'd like to introduce Principal Chris Baker, Principal of Totem, who has a presentation. Chris?
We're here tonight to recognize Elizabeth Gooseman and Adrian McKay, the science teacher. She's our coach and our science department chair, who brought this wonderful project that all of our 7th graders are involved in. And what it is it's from the Northwest Association of Biomedical Research, and they have a contest called Biomedical Breakthroughs in My Life. And the students do animal models and clinical trials in science. In language arts, they do the writing process, and they reflect on why we need to do animal research. And at first they have a view like we shouldn't be doing that, and then once they do their research they understand the lives that it saves. And then the students also learn the MCA format, MLA format, and how to write the paper, and they learn that in their math class, and that's where they do the research. So I passed out some little booklets. I was able to get a couple extra. Her research paper is in there, and she won in the category of ELL. There were 454 entries from all over the state, and there was a first, second, and third place, and a first place for ELL. She got a $100 gift certificate, and we spent a whole day at the Puget Sound Blood Center Research Institute, where she met scientists and doctors, and we visited some of the labs, the ones that the kids could visit, and they actually let us go in one. You had to be over 18, and I qualified. So it was a wonderful day. It was so interesting for me, and such an honor for Elizabeth. So, Elizabeth, you can just...
Well, thank you very much for all of you, and thanks to Ms. McKay. She helped me a lot on the project.
Thank you. Thank you, Elizabeth.
Nice. Nice. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks again. Congratulations. Thank you. That's it tonight. Thank you.
Next, we will have student tablets presentation by Ron Mayberry.
All right. Good evening, board members, Superintendent New, Deputy Superintendent Mark Davidson. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about some of the work we've done with student tablets this year in our pilots. And I have brought in 4 of the TOSAs from IT and TFL to speak more specifically about these projects. So we had Angie, who's over our ebook program using iPads in various elementaries. Jake Booker is using with LearnPads in elementary schools. Sarah with one-to-one in Nautilus and Woodmont, and Don Brown with one-to-one at Sahali. So we're going to start with Angie.
Good evening. This first pilot came out of a committee actually last year that was looking at the transition to the Common Core, and we had lots of conversation about making sure that we have books in kids' hands that are rich and rigorous, both at grade level and also below grade level. And so we looked at our different elementary schools, thought about what kind of book rooms are in each one, classroom libraries, and thought, what if we looked at kind of outside of the box and possibly looked at an e-book room, basically, that these teachers could have access to, where we could get books, a larger amount of books in kids' hands. So we bought iPads, 5 iPads for each of these 4 classrooms, and looked at 2 primary classrooms and 2 intermediate classrooms. I'm not sure how to click. Not sure how to click here. Oh, thank you.
Oops. I did the wrong button. But
this one?
Sorry.
No.
Here, use this one.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, no,
okay, that works too. So we looked at 2 primary classrooms, a 1st grade classroom and a 2nd grade classroom, and then a 4th and a 5th grade classroom. And we made sure that the teacher had access to an iPad, and then we had 5 iPads for students to use, both in small group instruction, guided reading instruction, and then also they had access to those during independent reading time for various students. And of course they had them throughout the day, so not only did they get to use them during this their literacy block, but also during math and science, and you can be sure that they took advantage of these all throughout the day. Students could either, like I said, they could use them individually, and they also could use them in small groups. And then individually, we were able to find some great apps that kids could use where they read the books, kids could read the books themselves, or the app would read the books to them. And so this was especially helpful for our ELL students who got to hear fluent reading to them as they before they practiced it themselves. We have a couple quotes from a couple of different teachers, but basically what our quotes say and what our teachers talk about is how motivating this was for our students to be able to use the devices and have access to over 3,000 books, many of which were really rich nonfiction books that were of high appeal to especially our boy readers. So that was really exciting. You can see in this picture one of our second graders looking at not only reading books but being able to find ways to display their learning and their knowledge in different ways than just a graphic organizer. So this little guy's got some information that he's learned about whales to present. So I think the biggest benefits, there were three really huge benefits, I think, to this pilot. First was that student motivation. We found that students are much more motivated to read on an iPad than a hardback book. And I think for our 4th and 5th grade classrooms in particular, our students who, struggling students, there's always that peer influence, and so an iPad looks the same. A high-level iPad book looks the same as a lower-level iPad book, and so I think self-esteem-wise, that was a big motivator for some of our kiddos. And second, that they had access to huge amounts of high-quality, rich text, which I think was very motivating and encouraged kids to read more. And then third, that our ELLs had access to hearing books read to them before they practice those books themselves. I'm really looking forward to looking at the data from these 4 classrooms to see what a difference it made. My initial thought is that after talking to one of the 5th grade teachers that used this, she said that all but 2 of her students are reading on grade level. So not hard data yet, but pretty exciting to see that. So thank you.
Hi, I'm Jake Booker. I'm one of the technology TOSAs, and I'm really excited to share some of the work that's going on at Olympic View and over at Mirror Lake. They've been using LearnPads for about 3 weeks now, and what I'd love to do is show you a video, if I can find the escape key on here. There it is. We use this video to get the students and the staff excited about the LearnPad pilot. All right. Thank you. So right now we have 30 devices, and these devices are spread out across 2 schools with 5 teachers. We're currently serving about 130 students with these devices, and the images that are up on the screen now are actually from a science unit. They were able to find an app through the learning management system that was aligned with our science kit. So what they're doing right now is they're looking at an insect unit, and there's this app that's specifically designed for the kit. So the kids are able to have the book read to them. There are interactive videos, and there are questions and activities that go along with this device for the specific unit. So we see a lot of potential in this, and we're really looking forward to seeing it expanded beyond the initial pilot. So thank you very much for your time, and I'll turn it over to our next.
Hello, my name is Sarah Nolette, and I'm also one of the IT TOSAs. And I have been working with the iPad pilot over at Nautilus and Woodmont, where we rolled out 180 iPads. So every student in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade at both schools has an iPad to use. And let me tell you, they were really excited. I went over to the school and did the basic introduction that I've done with teachers all over the district, and they picked up the stuff so fast. In fact, they were showing me stuff that I didn't know how to do. They're using the iPads to do schoolwork through Edmodo, which allows them to access some of the activities from the iPad that they've done during the school day at home. This is an example from Mr. Stafford's class where he actually allows the kids to turn stuff in electronically. They have videos there that they discuss together in the forum, which is pretty cool. And here's some examples of Note Shelf, which is an app that we use for note-taking, where they are able to type, they can handwrite. Two different students turn these in, and they actually display them on Edmodo as well, so that they can help each other. I really like this one on the right. There's a bunch of like strong arms around this thing he wanted to remember, which I think is neat. They also use other multimedia formats. This student had to do a project about taming of the shrew. So he went out and found an app called Pic Collage, which I had never heard of, and figured out that if he combined Pic Collage with an app called Wallpaper Free, he could get free images to throw into this and not have to worry about stealing pictures and stealing images. And so he put this together for that, which I thought was neat. And then I just want to show you a little piece of a quick video that a student made about the rock cycle. So this was a lab they did in class using peanut butter and jelly sandwiches to make the different types of rocks. They videoed all of this, the student videotaped all of this with the iPad and then put this whole video together. So that was pretty impressive. They did this project probably 2 weeks after having the iPad. So I don't want to show you the whole video because it's 2 minutes long, but So both of the principals at the schools invited you to come out and visit anytime you'd like. The iPads are being used pretty much in every class every day. So come on out and check out what they're doing. It's just amazing, really, watching the students. There was one day where Mr. Stafford was actually absent. He had a substitute. The kids were sitting in their class with their iPads out. They were doing videos. They were doing Edmodo. He was able to communicate to them through Edmodo while they were working with the sub. The sub was like, this is just the best sub job ever. So it's been really great to see what's been going on over there. So thank you.
Hello. So I'm working with the LearnPads as well over at Sahali. We currently are one-to-one for all 6th and 7th grade students. So it's about I think it's around 310 devices right now. Next year we'll be adding all of the 8th graders. It's a personalized device that belongs to that student while they're enrolled at the school, so they have their own personal login. Nobody else can log into it. It's stored each day. And what's nice about having the LearnPad is the content is controlled by the teacher. So from class period to class period, they scan for that class's work that day, and it gives them the work they need for that class. And they go to the next class and scan in the next one. These are some pictures of our deployment. We actually trained in 2 steps. We did all the 6th graders on one day, and all the 7th graders on the next day is step 1 of just getting them logged in and familiar with what the device looked like. And then we did some follow-up training within small classrooms and spent 2 days teaching the kids on how to get into the device as Edmodo and how to navigate their way through. What's been really nice is the teachers are so open to it. They've really embraced the idea of changing classroom management, changing what it means to instruct, changing what it means for students to deliver their knowledge and what it means to actually know something. So I've taken some pictures of a science class, and what's cool about this, I went over today as well, and they did the next step that I didn't know they were going to do, otherwise I have a picture of it for you. They laid out cards for the food web, they took a picture, and then the kids figured out, none of us knew you could do this, within the LearnPad's camera, you can actually doodle on the picture. And so today they showed me, one young man showed me, he had taken different colors to show the arrows to represent decomposers and consumers and first level consumers and tertiary. And so it was really interesting, and they're figuring this out. The next thing that's been really exciting is the PE teachers. Every week I've met with the 2 PE teachers as they develop how they're going to turn this into a PE portfolio, having the students do online video blogs of their growth over the year and how they're doing better and better at their running and other things they're doing. So that's the LearnPads for you, nice and short and sweet. And just like Sarah said, please come out anytime and see what the kids are doing. They're taking them all over. They have them out at lunch and they're playing around with it. Quite a few kids told me today that they actually like coming to school now because it's not boring anymore. So that's been pretty exciting to watch 6th graders excited. Thank you.
I want to thank my team for their presentation. I also want to give a little shout out to Terry Galloway in Decatur, who's a PE teacher, and she's been given the opportunity with about a dozen tablets, and she's doing some really cool things with PE, taking videos, having kids annotate and self-evaluate so that she can understand what they think about what they just did in that particular skill, and then she gives them feedback. She's posting QR codes for websites and information about healthy eating, exercises, etc. So there are a lot of cool things happening with tablets, regardless of brand. I wanted, in closure, just to kind of thank our local taxpayers for the technology levy that's kind of helped bring this to us to this pilot stage this year. As we're in pilots, we're excited about the future when we move from pilot to some real thoughts about what happens across our district. This is all on behalf of a 6-year capital project which is approved in February 2010, started funding in 2011, and we're now in our 3rd year of 6. And so we look forward to future opportunities with our kids and tablets and other computing devices. This has been an incredibly exciting year for those devices too. They just keep popping out new ones all over the place. So we're watching what's happening and looking forward to making decisions there. So if there are any questions, we can answer them. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from board members? Comments?
Just for me, obviously, I'm so glad we're doing a pilot instead of just trying to throw a bunch of computers out there and hope the technology works. And I'm just hoping that we're just learning the lessons right now. How are we logging? Just kind of, are we establishing a program for how we're going to launch it district wide? Kind of learning the bumps along the way right now. Is that kind of the process of how we're doing?
Absolutely.
School?
The process this year was to get some of these pilots approved, get them out in the hands of staff first. So Sarah spoke of Nautilus Woodmont. We did early training in November, but by the time we moved through all the hoops to get the purchases done and those sorts of things, students took, I think, possession early February. With Sahali, it's just been in the last 2 weeks. Same thing with the LearnPads. The iPads that were out in the elementary that Angie's working with, those were actually repurposed iPads because we updated our secondary and our middle school principals with new iPads. So those iPads that came out of that were repurposed into those elementary schools. So, and all with the purpose of learning and understanding the benefits. And yes, we are tracking. I would say our next fall semester is going to be where we really get some real data about, anecdotally, we have lots of kids excited about learning, which is, you can't beat that, but we'll see how it sustains. So.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, I'm sure that there's students that have seen technology in one light, and this opens it up to the possibilities of what you can use it for. And even you have teachers that maybe are just kind of holding, right. I don't know if I want to get involved in this, and having their eyes open to this great venue of how to learn. So I'm excited that we're moving forward with it.
It's the whole process letting them plug in
Absolutely.
instead of unplug when they come through the door. And and in the tech levy, what's also brought that is our allowing us to extend our wireless and some of those things. So we're at that point where we can allow students to bring their own devices. We need to figure out how that works in our schools, but we have the infrastructure. We're increasing infrastructure for wireless in our secondary schools this summer and elementary the following summer, to the point that a teacher who wants to try a bring your own device type program, they have the tools. Google's up, wireless is up, they're ready. They just and I've got a team that will support them.
I had a question about Angie. You were talking about the when you were sharing about the ebook pilot. I noticed that you talked about grades 1 and 2 and grades 4 and 5. And my assumption would be, is that the grade level teaming, or how did you make that decision? And is what happens to that second grader that moves to third?
Yeah, we were really just looking at some teachers who were somewhat tech savvy and wouldn't be afraid of putting those into play. Although at Wildwood, we chose one teacher who was really tech savvy and someone who was not as tech savvy, and she was really excited to see how easy it was to start implementing. And so, like I said, I'm not sure where we're going with them next. We're going to have a hard time prying it out of their hands.
I was going to say, does the device follow the child, or does the device stay in a classroom?
Yeah.
In this case, the device is the classroom. In the case of the one-to-ones, as Don mentioned, the sixth grader that has a device now will move up to seventh grade with their device, and seventh grader will move to eighth, and we'll buy new ones for the incoming sixth graders.
So is there a thought about how the rollout might happen with the ebook situation?
No.
We haven't
That's
had
a discussion we need to have.
Yeah, we
Thanks.
do.
We want to support it, though, so we'll find.
Yeah, I just would hate to see kids get used to getting excited about a strategy or a good support, and then have them leave a situation where that strategy is left behind. So if there's a way that we can either think about rolling up and out as it follows students, or something, so that kids aren't with and then without.
Yeah, we're trying something this summer with 240 K through 2 students with the LearnPad, so that'll be
awesome.
Another exciting opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we will have Dave Davis with a Gradebook update for us.
Members of the board, Superintendent New, Deputy Superintendent Davidson. I thought now would be a good time to come and give you an update on our progress in terms of a new Gradebook. From February to May, we've done quite a bit of back-end work. Specifically, we've met with 4 different times with Gradebook committees. The Gradebook committee was led by Cindy Black and made up of teachers, principals, interventionists, and coaches. Those committees started over a year ago with the set plan to come to the district with suggestions of how to improve standards-based grading in Fairway Public Schools. And it started before we knew we were going to the Synergy product. So it was in response to a lot of questions and concerns. But in the last few months, we've had quite a few meetings as we move to the new Synergy Gradebook of what works well and what we need to do to move forward. Also, in the last 4 months, when we rolled out in February and announced that we were going to adopt a new Gradebook, Ron and I met and with the IT TOSA team and said, how do we want to train our teachers? And the idea, under the guidance of EduPoint, was to come up with a train-of-trainer model. Specifically, identify teachers and staff that are willing to go through the training on behalf of the district, and then train our staff on the new system. And to our surprise, over 65 people applied for roughly 16 positions. That's a lot. That's a lot more, which told us that reading, they're excited to go to this new product. They believe in the messaging. They believe in what they have seen. They believe in the capacity of what we are trying to do in Fairway Public Schools. So there were some tough decisions made about that. And out of those 16, there were 2 layers of them. One was what we call lead EduPoint trainers, and the other is called EduPoint trainers. But in sum, those are the teachers that are going through training now and are on the conference calls and are in the meetings that we are now having with Synergy and EduPoint in how we are building this ship in dry dock, if you will, right now. And those are the teachers and staff that will be leading the training of their staffs in August in conjunction with the IT TOSAs that you saw up here. We've had multiple conference calls and visits with EduPoint staff. It just so happens EduPoint is here this week working with us. They were here today working on various aspects, and tomorrow Sally is coordinating 3 days of conversation with different aspects of EduPoint. They've been wonderful partners. We have weekly conference calls with them on Thursdays in which the staff members, the EduPoint trainers, are able to
2 meetings.